My name is Simon Bell and I'm the Voscur rep to the Bristol Partnership Executive Board. Bristol Partnership Executive Board last met on the 17th of November and this was the second full meeting of the new structure of the Bristol Partnership, which was reformed over the summer. The new structure has an executive board at its heart and a lot of outlying other partnerships looking at particular areas of the work that needs to be done in Bristol. The main focus of the 17th of November meeting was the State of the City conference, which is going to be hosted by the Bristol Partnership on the 2nd of December, at which a variety of people have been asked to chair some themed workshops, and I'll be chairing the one concerned with tackling deprivation in Bristol. And we discussed as an executive board actually how that should work, how all those various workshops should be conducted and what should happen as a consequence of it, because that's the point of the new structure of the Bristol Partnership. The executive isn't about telling people what should happen, but it's about ensuring that something does happen and that the whole of Bristol benefits from that. So it's useful to be there from the point of view of the voluntary and community sector, but of course we need to make sure that something comes out of it which is concrete and is delivered. The current sort of plan for how we take things forward is that straight after the conference there will be a reporting back of the chairs, which I am one and other people as well will be reporting back to the council what came out from their workshops. We've got 5 minutes to do that, so we can't be that extensive obviously, and there's a lot more to it than we can cover even on the day. What happens subsequent to the conference and to the council debate is that obviously it needs to inform the way the Bristol Partnership proceeds with its plan of action for the year. There's a city strategy being developed which will become more apparent in the early months of next year, and the State of the City Conference will inform the production of that strategy. We also talked, it being a new partnership, we're looking at actually how it's organised, how it's supported, and one other main issue on the agenda was the idea for a new support team for the Bristol Partnership, which I'm really excited to say, I'm really pleased to see is going to be supported financially by other partners other than the City Council. Until now, the previous form of the partnership, there was a support management group which was entirely funded and hosted within the City Council. And while they did a great job, actually there was an issue around identity, and the new structure is much more open and trying to find ways in which the City Council can be less dominant. So I'm happy to say there's a £350,000 outline budget for this new support group, which will contain 4 or more people who may be seconded from partner organisations, but which is funded by the other partners as well. So for example, the police hope to be providing 50,000, the Business West hopefully will provide 25,000, the PCT will provide I think 50,000 as well, so and other key partners will provide money. Voscur and the voluntary and community sector organisations at the table will be able to provide in-kind support when appropriate. But it's actually, the message that gives is really important, that it's not about the City Council anymore entirely, although they are providing 150,000 of the fund, but it's about other partners, and even we aim to have the support management group hosted in a non-City Council venue. With this new style of Bristol Partnership, one of the key things we want to ensure happens at the executive level is that we understand how the outlying or the other partners are actually working and have a sense of how we can work together in sort of cross-sectors and cross-cutting ways. A paper on vulnerable families in Bristol was brought to the 17th of November meeting, which was both an exploration, an example, and hopefully a practical way of moving forward on a particular issue, which is obviously important in Bristol. Vulnerable families are in many areas. We may or may not know where they are, but actually it's an issue which needs tackling. It's not just it doesn't just need to be tackled through one of the theme partnerships, but in many different ways, in many different partnerships within the Bristol Partnership as a whole. And the Vulnerable Families paper was about an exploration of how that can happen. And the discussion was pretty far-reaching and broad, and in some ways a little bit too general perhaps at this stage, but it was a way of demonstrating that it's not just about health, it's not just about community safety, it's not just about education, it's about all those things, it's about housing, and actually all the partnerships which are part of the new Bristol Partnership need to have an angle on how we tackle vulnerable families. The executive itself isn't in charge of delivering this, but it is important that the executive maintains an overview of an issue such as that, and in the future that's one of the ways that the executive will work. During the past year, when I was chair of the partnership, and since the local area agreement was under review and a refreshed version of it was submitted and approved by council during the summer. Now that's gone to Goswin, has been signed off, and is part of the fabric of the new Bristol Partnership, and that's fine. But of course, it was based around a lot of new targets, new indicators. One of which is important to Voscur was that I think it was national indicator number 7, an environment for a thriving third sector in the city. Now that is a good aspiration, but of course you need to put some numbers to that in order to know whether or not you're achieving that thriving environment. And so, along with a lot of other indicators, there is some negotiation going on between the City Council and Government Office for the South West to identify exactly what we mean by that, an environment for a thriving third sector. By March next year, that the local authority will be able to have agreed these indicators, and we will know exactly what we mean by a thriving third sector. This indicator for the third sector, for the thriving third sector, is obviously very important to Voscur, and I raised this at the table at the meeting on the 17th. And of course it's well recognised by others that we need to be part of that conversation. And so again, being at the table can bring about benefits. We're not just there as a token sort of outside organisation. We are there as a member of the executive with something to bring, something to contribute, and some critique of how Bristol is dealt with through the Bristol Partnership. The next Bristol Partnership Executive Board meeting is on the 18th of December 2008. The agenda is not available yet, but hopefully we'll know that fairly soon and be able to broadcast what the issues are on it. But obviously there will be some follow-up to the State of the City debate, and any other information we will get that out to you as soon as we can.